northbound on I-135, and this is between Harry and Lincoln. Traffic update from 98.7 and 1330 KNSS. In the Accident Recovery Team Traffic Center, I'm Jed Chambers.
Weather.
Sunny skies this morning, then just a few clouds this afternoon. A light southeast breeze under 10 and a high of 90. Becoming clear, overnight low 70. Sunshine and then a few clouds on Tuesday. Stronger south winds 10 to 20, high 92. 95 on Wednesday. Partly cloudy skies. Could see a few storms on Wednesday night. Better chance of storms on Thursday. That's your forecast from Storm Team 12. I'm meteorologist Jake Dunn.
Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH Wichita, KNSS HD2 Clearwater, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Hey Wichita, it's Jacob Albrock. Stay right there for the latest breaking in sports talk. It's Sports Daily coming up next exclusively on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
I'm Chris Sylvester with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Browns rookie running back Quinshon Judkins was arrested over the weekend on a misdemeanor domestic violence charge. According to the Broward County, Florida Sheriff's Office, the 21-year-old posted bond Sunday afternoon and is currently pending trial. In a statement, the Browns said they're aware of the matter, but will decline further comment. Judkins, a second-round pick of the 2025 NFL Draft, remains unsigned. Meantime, Chargers' second-round rookie wide receiver Trey Harris also remains unsigned. Did not report to camp over the weekend, along with his fellow rookies. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reports 30 of 32 second-round picks have yet to sign rookie deals due to an ongoing disagreement over guaranteed money. The Chargers are the first team to open camp with veterans set to report Wednesday. And after 13 seasons, five-time Pro Bowler and Super Bowl champ Ndamukong Suh has officially announced his retirement from the NFL. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives. On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy All-Star Week here from us at Sports Daily. Glad to have you with us. It's Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester here. It should be a lot of fun as we get to deep dive now into the Royals and the rest of the sports world. While we don't have baseball for a couple of days, we've got home run derby bets to get through, all kinds of fun stuff for you on the show. To help us do it, Jaylon Thompson, our Royals insider, stops by today. That's what's on tap, brought to you by the Wichita Brewing Company. Locations east, west, and historic Delano, featuring a rooftop deck. Wichita Brewing Company, pizza, beer made here. Tommy, good morning. How are you?
Happy Monday. Good to see you. I hope you had a great weekend. Looking forward to getting into it, talking everything Royals, getting ready for the All-Star game. I'm here. I'm excited. Good to go.
We had the Major League Baseball draft yesterday, or yesterday evening into last night, that we can get into a little bit as well. The Royals have actually selected several players. It's been kind of interesting. So we have that on tap. Be a lot of baseball. As we get closer and closer to training camps beginning in the NFL, we can certainly touch on NFL storylines as well. But here we go. If it is the last breath before the sports calendar turns over, really, if we're looking at it. We're once we hit training camp, and especially with the Royals resurgence here in July, this is the last little gasp we have. We've got TBT basketball returning this week, end of the week. If you missed anything we had with Zach Bush on Friday to get all the details on that, you can go back and always listen to that on the Odyssey app for free. If you're on the Odyssey app, you want to get in touch with the program, you can hit that little microphone button. iHeartRadio app also now has Sports Daily available for you. Of course, thanks for watching us on 12 News Connected, on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, all of those places. You can leave comments right there. Those feed to us as well, or you can go old school with it. Just kick it with us on the phone lines, 869-1240. Max Power has those for you. And we also have great appreciation for everybody who's cruising around, tuned in right now to KFH on their radio, which is what I do when I'm driving around.
You mentioned TBT kicking off this week. Just around the corner, the NBC World Series is back in Wichita. We're going to have Katie Woods, the director of the NBC World Series, on the show later this week to talk about that. I know they've got baseball around the clock returning, and the championship game will be down at Equity Bank Park this year. So excited about that. We've got, some really cool local sports events coming up here in the next couple of weeks.
Did you catch any Wimbledon, Tommy,
No,
yesterday? Wimbledon final?
Didn't watch a single second of it, to be honest.
I put it on right as I was leaving because I knew my wife would want to watch it, and then I got home and watched the final. It was pretty good. Those two guys are, I think it's a rivalry, Sinner and Alcaraz. I have not. That's the first I've seen of it, but it was good. It was good. I appreciate that a ginger won Wimbledon. I've come from a family largely composed of redheads, so it's a pretty great athletic achievement for a redhead. And I was going for Alcaraz, though. I don't know why. I just kind of decided there in that moment that I was going to. But it was good.
I mean, that guy is electric, though. And I mean, I know he didn't win, but just kind of seeing everybody commenting on him on social media, he captivates folks. That's for sure.
He does some stuff that's pretty wild. You can just tell, even if you don't know anything, you're like, well, that didn't seem possible. But, Sinner kind of seemed like Steady Eddie and was just kind of putting it where he wanted to. It was good. It was good. It was good to see. I hope that's the next evolution of a rivalry, and I'd love for an American to get in there. I think there's two Americans, but they're both already like 27. They're not going to get in there, I don't think. So it might be these two, but that was entertaining, and apparently they play all the time, and that was the first time Sinner got him. So that was also entertaining yesterday, but it was a good day for baseball. And the Royals, the Royals get their win. They salvage it. That was going to be a little disappointing. Tommy's making fun of me because I cashed out a bet. I had another bet. I on fire last week with baseball bets. On fire. And I have another 4-legger just waiting on the Royals. And I kept sitting there and I'm like, man, this 2-0 lead feels dangerous. And they had, when did they get that lead? In the third, in the fourth?
Early. Yeah, it was early.
So every inning, it was in the second. Every inning, I'm sitting there like, okay, well, if they add a little bit more to it in this inning, then I'll, and they just wouldn't do it. And then sure enough, when we get to the ninth, I got distracted by my wife. I'm sitting there watching the cash out. It was a $10 to win $200, like just silly long bet. And it was like 160. Or no, it was up to I think it was up to 150. And I was like, I should probably just take this. It's just feels weird. This game's felt weird. Got distracted, got back downstairs, and they led the inning off with a double, and it dropped to like, I don't know, $120. I'm like, no, that's BS. I'm not doing that. And then they hit the triple, score the run at third, no outs, and I'm like, whatever. And I had cashed it for like $80. Then of course they tie it, and I'm like, whew, I'm glad I got away from that. And then they win.
The Royals have a walk-off, and they win the game, and you would have won your entire parlay.
I would have. I'm not going to be too upset about it, though, because it was still a nice win. But, man, that game felt weird yesterday. Long story short, it just felt like it to me that, and I don't know if it did to anybody else, like it felt good with Cameron in the game because he was, he probably had his best start of the year. He was just dealing. It's like there's something, they can't, them not adding to this lead feels like it's going to come back to bite them. And it almost did. It took misplayed balls in the outfield. It wasn't even Estevez's fault in some cases, and he ended up getting the win yesterday. But Yeah, they get it done and they survive it. And that was going to suck real hard if the Royals got swept by the Mets after the great month and the great job they've been doing this month, but they get it done. And now we're to this All-Star break. And we're going to spend a lot of time here today. Jaylon Thompson will be with us. How do you evaluate where the Royals are after the month that they've had in July? It is a fascinating, Tommy. I don't think is there anybody that can say one way or the other where this team is right now?
I mean, they're all over the place, and it's been dependent game by game on their matchups, on the series, all of that. And you're right. It would have been a significantly different conversation this morning if the Royals had not been able to walk it off yesterday. Friday night's game was absolutely backbreaking. I mean, just like devastating, where, they essentially get blown out at the end of the game, but they had a lead late and then the bullpen couldn't hold it. And all of a sudden they lose to the Mets in large fashion. And you're like, man, like that's not the way that they wanted to kick off that series. They lose again on Saturday. And then Sunday, it took Nick Lofton essentially to hit the game winner, the walk-off there. And who would have ever thought that pinch hitting Tyler Tolbert for Jack Caglione at the bottom of the ninth would have led to the Royals being able to walk it off, but it worked and they were able to salvage it.
We'll spend some time with Cags. It was great. And not to be lost after the unlucky misplayed balls for Estevez. If you can keep the other team scoreless in the ghost inning under the new rules, that's a pretty big accomplishment. That's honestly, you talk about that bet. That's why I didn't want any piece of that, because these extra inning games are such a toss up. Like it is such an anomaly now what happens in extra innings that it's like, no, I don't want any piece of that. I don't want any part of that. So, the Rangers have been on the wrong end of a lot of extra inning games lately. By the way,
the good thing it wasn't an extra inning game. They walked it off in the bottom of the ninth. So it's
my bad. Yes, correct. I'm an idiot. Anyway, let's come back. Let's dig into the Royals when we return. It's Sports Daily. It's Al Brockton Cats.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. As the Royals get the win in regulation, not an extra innings. I don't know why I had that stuck in my head. Tommy, it puts them 4.5 games back of the last wild card spot, 6.5 games back of the Yankees for the first wild card spot. So they are within 6.5 games of all 3 spots. They finish 3 games under 500 in the first half. Again, I know we're more than halfway through the season, but we call this the first half of the season before the All-Star break. They are 8-4 in the month of July, and things look much different than they did before the month of July got underway. They have made themselves. How many games do we get before the deadline? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games before the trade deadline gets here, and 9 of those 12 are against teams with losing records. It's a big opportunity here. I mean, it feels very, very down to the wire. The Braves, your Braves, have struggled lately. They still have a plus run differential, which is interesting, but they've struggled lately. Miami is, kind of in the same boat as the Royals, although I think most people think the Royals are a better team than the Marlins. And then, Cleveland has really fallen lately, but are right there with the Royals and then kind of in the same boat. And you mix in a series against a really good Cubs team. But look, these next games, this is a stretch of baseball where you can make up a lot of ground. You get half the games at home, half of them on the road. That hasn't really mattered for Kansas City this year. But this stretch right here we go. I mean, if we thought the stretch before the break was important, this is even more so.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that by the time they get to the deadline, I think best case scenario for the Royals is that they're a couple of games out of the final wild card spot. I don't think that with the 12 games or whatever it is between now and the deadline, that they can make up the entirety of the ground that they need to be able to get to one of the wild card spots. But best case scenario, if they continue to play in the month of July, that the way that they started the month, I think they could be within striking distance, be a couple of games out of the final wild card spot. And if that happens, then it wouldn't be surprising to me to see some more moves made. I think that we'll see moves regardless, unless they just fall off a cliff and go 0-12, in the games after the All-Star break before the deadline. And I doubt that's going to happen. But I do think that they're in a situation now where they're, again, within striking distance. They can get themselves into a wild card spot. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I think the question then becomes, what's the right move to make? How many moves do they make? And how large of, significant moves do they make? What does that look like for them? And we've been debating that going back 2 months. And I still don't think there's really a firm answer on what the direction is.
No, I don't either, because I think you need to see these games play out. I am certain that they have already been doing work with, here are possible scenarios, here are teams that are interested, here are, because if it goes, probably the most likely is they're over these 12 games somewhere around 500, right? That's what we've seen kind of all year long. But boy, if it all goes well or it all goes poorly, you got to be ready, because that will likely put you in position to make the playoffs or knock you out completely if it goes, to the extreme one way or the other out of the break. But if we take a look at the rest of the season, this is probably the best opportunity. There is a stretch where you get Minnesota, Washington, and the White Sox. And there's another stretch of Minnesota and Cleveland, if you believe in those teams not being good. And that's kind of it. It's not as, I would say this, though, as far as what they faced in the month of June, and it's not it does loosen up a little bit. And the other thing to think about is how many of these teams that are kind of on the fringe now that they'll play end up being big sellers and not very good either by the time the Royals play them. And so I don't have a problem being aggressive with the Royals. If they choose to be aggressive, I'm totally fine with it. And honestly, it feels like being aggressive just means you don't sell a lot, right? It just means you kind of hold steady. I think that's an aggressive play. I think I'm okay with it. I just, the fans deserve it. The team is young. There aren't a lot of expiring contracts that Lugo's the only one that feels heavy right now. But other than that, just kind of holding pat is probably okay. And in that, you can always go get a bat, right? That you can get a bat from guys that get dropped probably. You can try to add, and it doesn't have to be anything major. If it is major, it needs to be more than this year, obviously. But I don't want to see an expensive rental for a bat of any kind. But if it's just, kind of an older guy that you feel like makes you better, and that's what you end up doing, I'm okay with that.
I do have a little bit of an addition to my thoughts at the trade deadline after the series this weekend. And actually, you've brought this up a few different times, even before this weekend. And that is, the Royals might need to address bullpen. And I recognize that. And yeah, every team is going to, want to address bullpen of the contenders. You can always get better in your bullpen. But Estevez was shaky this weekend. Lucas Ursig has been shaky a little bit. Of course, who knows if we'll ever see Hunter Harvey again, or how long that's going to be. And really, one of the strengths of this team, one of the major strengths of this team, is that when there hasn't been consistent offense, the lack thereof of offense has always been picked up by elite pitching. And that's whether we're talking about the starting rotation or the bullpen. And when there is really, really tight margins and the Royals have very small leads of a run or 2 runs, you've had to back it up with a really, really, really strong bullpen. And we saw it on both Friday and we saw it yesterday against the Mets. where the Royals bullpen, they kind of faltered, and they had a lead late in the game on Friday. Bullpen gave up the lead. And that's not, I like Carlos Estevez. He's an all-star for a reason. He's been really good overall collectively this season. The body of work clearly shows that he is good, but I think having some reinforcements down the stretch in the bullpen, that if that hasn't been a big priority that JJ Piccolo has been thinking of leading up to the trade deadline, I think after this series this weekend, it absolutely should be.
Well, I agree, and I think it always should be. I think Lynch's injury doesn't help you either, as you worry about that sort of thing. I also think you can add to the bullpen. Look at what they did last year. It doesn't have to be like you can add a bullpen arm like Ursig, who you've scouted, you think has pretty good stuff, maybe you think is underutilized, but that has some control left. And that is a move that, again, just like some kind of bat, if they end up going that way, that's the kind of move you make. I don't know that the Royals need to be in the business of any kind of rental players that cost you anything basically but money, because they're just too on the fence of contention. Right? It could just get away from them so fast that, boy, you don't want to give up any meaningful prospect haul or anything like that, almost no matter what happens here, because it could slip away so quickly in this year's race. So if it's a bullpen piece, yeah, you did 2 deals last year for bullpen pieces. Both of those players have control involved. Make it that way. It doesn't have to be the headline guy. We didn't know who. Let's be real. Let's all be real. None of us knew who Lucas Ursig or Hunter Harvey were last year before they became Royals. Most likely, you'd never heard of those players. I don't think that I had. Maybe I'd heard of Harvey. Like, I hadn't heard of either one of those guys. And I watch a lot of A's baseball because I watch the Rangers. So it's fine if you want to go, if you do, and you should always be in the bullpen business, always in Major League Baseball. Not only is it fickle from year to year, these guys get hurt a lot. Like, you just never know. So yeah, go find a guy that has some control. Maybe it's a bad team's 6th inning guy that you think has really good stuff and is an interesting player, and that's fine. And they slot in. I do think, my thoughts on Zerpa. I think his role has become better lately, and I think Schreiber has been underrated probably this year. Schreiber's done a really good job at what they ask him to do, which is almost always to inherit a mess and to try and escape out of it. He's actually pretty good at that. His tangible numbers are also good, but he's been pretty good at that. But they do, without Lynch, it feels like, need one more back end guy. If they can find it, great. I think the urgency is probably a little bit more to the bat. If you're going to add something. But I've always of the belief that you should always be in the bullpen business if you're a good team.
Well, and look, they needed to call on Steven Cruz on Friday. They've had to call on him a few different times. And what's interesting, going all the way back to Friday night's game, they decided to not go to Lucas Ursig. And I know he's been battling, I think it's a back that has kind of flared up from time to time. And so they decided to not go to him. And they went to Steven Cruz instead. And Cruz started off pretty good. And he's been overall really good this season. But he started off that appearance pretty good. It wasn't until they brought him back out and he got into some trouble. And then Estevez, inherited a mess. And from there, the Mets really slammed the door on the Royals. And so, yeah, like when you have such a small margin for error, and you rely so heavily on your arms in the bullpen to get the job done, you just can't afford that, right? You can't afford situations like that. And so, and maybe bullpen has always been in the cards at the trade deadline for JJ Piccolo, as most teams, most contenders usually are in the market for bullpen arms this time of year. But if for some reason it hasn't, been prioritized as far as the potential trade talks are concerned, I think absolutely this weekend you ought to really look at that just because, hey, like if we're not going to be able, if we don't feel like even us acquiring another bat in the lineup is going to really change our fortunes offensively that much, okay, well then we're probably going to continue down the stretch with very, very, very small margins, and we have to have elite bullpen pitching. And so we're going to need somebody else in that pen.
Noah Cameron yesterday, it just continues. I think it's for real, at least this year. Like, I think he's steady. And the rotation, even without Reagan's, it doesn't feel like there is a gaping hole in there, right? Like, the 5 that they roll out now is great. I don't want to say Lorenzen's great. He got sick before his last start, and they did a nice job. That was Friday or Saturday where he got sick?
Saturday. He was
So he didn't start. It turns into a bullpen game, whatever. But like, you feel really good about that. And now you have 6 guys, which is, as we'll transition to the Lugo conversation again, like you've got 6 and you feel good about all 6 of them. That also continues to make Seth Lugo, to me, the most interesting player across baseball at the deadline, because you could see a contender adding but yet trade away their best starting pitcher. It's just a wild scenario. I don't know what the Royals will do there, and we'll have that conversation later in the show. We'll ask Jaylon Thompson about it too. But you've got so much depth in the rotation. You have like one place in the lineup you could make a move, and it's left field. Like, that's it. Like, that's the only spot that is not absolutely rock solid that they have who they're going to have there. It's the only one. So yeah, if you're going to add bullpen, it's probably the most flexible place you have. Like,
Well, and shoot, the way that Nick Lofton has been playing lately, he may be your everyday left fielder.
Is it really that urgent? I don't know that it is. And I don't mean that to say, like, I think their offense is great. I mean that to say, who are you going to sit? If you go trade for who isn't the rock solid? I mean, I suppose if you found an all-world center fielder, but everybody feels good about the way Isbell's playing, and you like having him out there, as Jack Caglione has shown a couple of signs of struggle on balls in right field. Like, you'd like to know that Isbell, not the singer, Isbell is out there with him. So it really is like left field. And yes, Nick Lofton has been clutch lately for sure. I don't know that I'm putting the hopes of the season on Nick Lofton's shoulders.
He's been the reason why they've gotten a handful of those wins in July.
And I want them to ride that hot hand as long as they can. But if you're talking about making the team better, and I suppose you could look for a second baseman too with Jonathan India, and you have a DH spot. So there is, maybe you have a little more flexibility because Cags can clearly play right field, even though he's had a couple of moments out there. Like, he can play right field. So you've got a spot, I suppose, where you could rotate a guy in, but it's not much room. Again, I've said it, it's unfair. The most likely outcome that takes this offense to the next level is the young rookie. Like, that's it. That's because everyone else has now kind of found their groove, right? Like, even though they're still unclutch and can't score any runs, like, everybody's found an individual groove. You just need Cags to get better, more consistent. And yeah, you could probably upgrade at left field, but Nick Lofton's been the reason you probably won, 3 of these games this month have been squarely on Nick Lofton's shoulders. So what do? You probably stand pat.
I like the idea of Nick Lofton being kind of a platoon guy, a versatile utility type guy that can play a bunch of different positions and be DH if he needs to be, or he can go play second base while Jonathan India DHs. You can kind of move him around. So I don't think that with what they've done, with what Lofton has done recently, I don't think that should preclude the Royals from going after trying to find an everyday left fielder that can provide an additional pop in the lineup, because Lofton is versatile enough that he can go and do a bunch of different things. And so I don't think that they should look at, even I was kind of saying that in jest, that he's been the reason they've won those games. And that's true. But I don't think they look at him or should look at him and be like, all right, well, we're good. We don't need to do anything else offensively.
No.
I still think you go try to find an upgrade in left field, and then you can move Nick Lofton around as needed.
Yeah, you absolutely can't put the hopes and dreams of your entire season on the shoulders of Nick Lofton. You can't do that. You can if you stand pat, which again, I do think is not a bad option for the only issue with standing pat right now is you don't utilize Seth Lugo's tradability. That's it. That's the only one that you feel that way about, unless there's another one you can think of on the team. Like, that's where, for me, it's like, okay, that is the guy that you could regret. You're not going to regret, I guess, to put it more simply, anything else if you just hold steady at the deadline. I don't think, because you're close enough to be there. It doesn't really matter otherwise. And so it's just Lugo is such an anomaly right now at this moment, because we don't know what's going to happen with his contract. And maybe the Royals do know that. Maybe they have a better idea than we do, and they're playing that, close to the chest. That's fine. But otherwise, we're just like, well, what happens? Like, if he's the most attractive starter on the market, and you're under 500 at the All-Star break, and you just don't get anything for that, and he walks away in the offseason, I mean, you'll get a draft pick for him.
I would tell you, I wholeheartedly believe that if the Royals don't move Seth Lugo at the deadline, then they've got a pretty good idea on the way the contract is going to play out. And it's either they've had conversations with Lugo and he's willing to re-sign, and they haven't done it yet and they're going to, or they know he's going to walk away and they're comfortable with the draft pick they're getting in return. But either way, if they don't move him, I don't think that it would be a situation where they keep him around not knowing what he's going to do. I would imagine if they don't trade him, they've got a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I hope so. He's so fun to watch. All right, we'll come back. We got more Sports Daily. Stick around.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
83-1001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Daily. It is Jacob Albrecht and Tommy Castor. Summer Concert Series is back at the Capitol Federal Amphitheater in Andover. The series returns this week on Friday with Big Fat Fun live on stage. Gates open at 6:30. Show starts at 8. You got free live music. You got food trucks, Friday night fun all summer long. The full schedule is at knssradio.com, is at kfhradio.com as well. All of the Odyssey station websites will have your information on.
You're kind of like Ron Burgundy. You'll read whatever's on the teleprompter.
Sometimes I catch it. Sometimes I won't. On reads like that, yes. On things that are going live out at the air, no. But yeah, that one just got me again. Tommy, another interesting thing to think about, and I haven't thought a lot about this. I'm just kind of scouring, trade possibilities. Michael Lorenzen's probably a trade candidate too. We've talked a little bit about Chris Bubich. Michael Lorenzen's probably a trade candidate too. If the Royals by the end of this thing are in contention, they could think about it. I would tell you though, and I only bring him up because his name pops on a list. I only bring him up because he can be used in the bullpen too. So, that's something to think about as Reagans comes back, is that Lorenzen, as recently as last year, like he is as versatile a pitcher as there is in Major League Baseball. So, yeah, I suppose they could trade him. And if they fall out of it and traded Lugo, probably they would be looking to trade him also. But if, that's only in the if they fall out of it scenario. The other thing that I think becomes interesting with him, his contract this year is about $12 million. It's a mutual option. They're probably not bringing him back next year unless they lose Lugo. But I bring up the $12 million number is really interesting because Lugo's on that $15 million player option. If they solely, Tommy, took the Lorenzen money in the offseason and applied it to Lugo, that's probably the kind of deal Lugo will command in the offseason. So there probably is a financial path for the Royals, who are only guaranteed to add salary based on arbitration cases. They won't need anything in the offseason. So let's paint this picture here. Let's go just like a step out a little bit further with what the Royals offseason will look like. They don't have much as far as expiring, we're going to lose this players. Lugo by far is the most of that. But even Bubic, who we've talked about, has kind of a sneaky expiring cut. They still have him on arbitration next year. So it's kind of only Lugo, right? And Lorenzen's on this mutual option. And so if you think about that, they're not likely to spend much money in free agency anyway. I don't think they're, the likelihood that they go buy a free agent bat is less likely to me than they would commit some dollars to Seth Lugo. And in fact, I would rather commit the dollars to Seth Lugo if you're asking me on a personal level, because I do think you can bake in some long-term improvement from guys like Jack Caglione to make your offense better. But if you just took that money and knew that that's all, you don't even have to really grow your payroll to keep Lugo. Just apply the Lorenzen money to Lugo. Give him his 3 years, $25 million. You've got the first year basically at your payroll was this year, and you move forward that way. It again, it's very possible that Lugo walks away from his final year at 15, yet extends with the Royals still. And that makes it even more complicated to think about him as a trade candidate. That not knowing that part is going to make it impossible to evaluate if they hold on to him, whether or not that was a good or bad decision.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that by moving Michael Lorenzen, I understand it, and I understand, if you have to choose between Seth Lugo and Michael Lorenzen, I mean, having the stability of what Lugo has done in the rotation, I think that makes a lot of sense. But we know that Lugo is going to be more expensive than Lorenzen is, and you end up, if you move Lorenzen, you end up losing his versatility and what he's been able to do for this team, primarily in the rotation, yes, but in a pinch, if they need to use him out of the pen, they can do that too. They did that, I think, in the playoffs last year. They used him out of the bullpen in a pinch.
With the Rangers when they traded for him last
year. Right. And so I think that there are obviously benefits to having a guy like Michael Lorenzen on your roster. And you do have, as you mentioned, the mutual option type scenario with Lorenzen coming up. I don't know. If it were me, I don't think I would move either one of them. I would try to figure out a way to lock up Lugo long term. And that may very simply be.
Can they just extend Lugo now?
Well, here's the thing. Rather than having to try to kind of piecemeal it together to come up with the budget to be able to re-sign Seth Lugo, it may very well be a situation where John Sherman has to open up the old pocketbook.
Early. Could be like now. Yeah.
Early, right? And will he have the appetite to do that? He's shown that he's had the appetite to spend money in the offseason. We haven't really seen a whole lot of him doing it mid-season. I think in an ideal situation for me, I would love for them to come out and announce in the next couple of weeks, highly unlikely they'll do this, I know this, but announce that they have re-signed Seth Lugo to an extension.
I would rather them know that they want to, but then let him pitch the rest of the season if he's not going to add any years to it, because I want to know what happens.
Yeah.
It's there is risk in not trading him only if the package that is being offered is so immense that you're like, God, this is like a franchise altering package. Because if they traded him, Tommy, to whoever and get him, they can still go get him back in the offseason. You know what I mean? Like if you have conversations with Lugo, like no matter what happens, right? We want to give you a longer contract at the end of this season. After this season plays out, no matter what happens here, if you get traded, it's because you're so valuable, we couldn't help ourselves, and we'd still want to bring you back in the offseason. Like there are so many weird and possible scenarios because you just don't usually get this kind of situation where you have this kind of desirable asset who can literally help any team win a World Series and put them over the edge. That makes every bit of sense to have on your team long term. You're just in this year where you're maybe not going to contend. Boy, I wish we knew what was going to happen with Cole Reagans and his injury, right? Like if you knew Reagans was coming back and you knew he was going to be back around the time of the deadline and he was going to actually be healthy, then you have even more appetite for this. But without knowing that, like what if you trade Lugo because you get an offer you can't refuse and Reagans never is quite back this year? Now you've got a problem. So I would tell you that I think it's unlikely that they do anything with Lugo unless they absolutely fall apart over the next 12 games. I think they're probably just going to ride it out with him. I think they're probably comfortable taking a first-round compensation if he does not re-sign and you sleep like a baby. And I'm okay. And again, to the original point, I'm totally okay with that at this point. I just cannot shake this feeling that this team can absolutely make a run post All-Star break and still try to make the postseason.
You know, we talked about potential trade candidates leaving the Royals, and we talked about potential guys that they could bring in. The conversation last week was around Brian Reynolds, and there have been other names that have been floated around a lot. The Athletic reported over the weekend, I believe it was, that they talked about Brian Reynolds as well. But another name that was thrown out in that article for the Royals that you know this guy pretty well, and that's Adolis Garcia. Potentially could be a guy that the Royals could trade for. He's having a down year at the plate, but he could be relatively inexpensive because he's not having a great year at the plate. Obviously, you know him well because you're a Rangers fan. Is that a good fit? Do you think he's a guy that the Royals could pursue?
Yeah, he'd be a good fit. He'd have to play left field. He plays right field for the Rangers, but he can play center. He'd be fine. You'd get him through next year. So you get him this year and next year. I think the interesting thing with him is the Rangers are ahead of the Royals in the wild card standing with fantastic pitching. It would have to be a trade that they also get something that helps them this year too. Because I don't think they're interested right now in being sellers either. I would imagine the Rangers have more of an appetite to be a buyer even than the Royals do.
And there's a precedent also for these two teams to make deals together, right?
They've made a million.
They work really well together. You look at
they share a facility and Surprise
deal. Like they have some good symbiotic relationships.
They share a facility and Surprise, so they know each other's players really well.
Yeah.
They see them all spring, and so. Yes, look, if you could, and I'm trying to think of what you could kick back to them. I mean, they they need bullpen arms desperately, and I would never advocate for the Royals trading away bullpen strength unless they're going to go find somebody else. But look, if they could kick the Rangers back a bullpen arm that helps them and a prospect for a guy like Adolis Garcia, because but I would tell you that. I highly doubt the Rangers want to trade Adolis Garcia. I don't. They are trying to think of their depth. If they have somebody coming that could sort of force their hand a little bit. Evan Carter's back healthy. Boy, it'd be interesting. Yes, he'd be a great fit. I mean, he is nothing but power. Like that's what he is. Like it's like who's his name is escaping me at the moment. I actually thought about him as a potential trade candidate back for them. Who broke the record that Salvi then rebroke? Just like a few years ago. Hang on.
As a catcher or
no? Yeah, it's Jorge Soler.
Oh yeah, Jorge Soler. Yeah.
He's like Jorge Soler a little bit. He doesn't. He's probably a little bit better than that, but he's all power. He's all swag. He's a super fun player. And yeah, it could make sense. I just don't know that the Rangers are going to sell. I think they're less likely to sell than the Royals are. So it would have to, I don't even know how that would work. But yeah, if he's on the market, the Royals should totally be interested in Adolis Garcia. He's as clutch as they come. Like if you remember back to their World Series and even a few moments this year, like he's clutch. He's struggled though. Like he'd be risky. He has struggled mightily the last couple of years. That's an interest. There's a million interesting names. Are they buyers or are they sellers? We'll get with Jaylon Thompson in the next hour on all of this because it is like nothing changes. The only thing that changed over the last week is we're even more back to where we started with this conversation. because now they're playing well again. And you're like, well, it's just a reminder, this team's good. And on paper, they're great because they have an incredible rotation. I still don't think there's a better 1 through 5 rotation in baseball. And they don't have the guy we thought was going to be their best pitcher this year in Cole Reagans. That's how deep that rotation is. And it's a deep rotation with Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez and Vinny Pasquantino in the lineup. And Maikel Garcia is an all-star. And Jonathan India is on fire again. Like, how do you not look at this team on paper and say, that's a team that can make the postseason? Because look at all the other teams around them in the standings. None of them are as good on paper. Not even the Rangers you just mentioned are as good on paper, as good as their rotation is. I just don't think they can. I don't think they can wave the white flag on this season. There's no way. We'll come back. We'll have more on that in hour number 2. We'll look at what the Royals did in the draft, by the way. They had a lot of picks on the first day of action. We'll get that when we return on Sports Daily.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 83-1001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor with you here on the program on the Monday Home Run Derby night. We'll go into some bets, some expectations there. The Royals got a couple more all-star announcements since we've been on the air last. So we'll get into all of that as we get through this. Jaylon Thompson also going to join the show, and our Royals insider is going to help us sort out what the Royals might be thinking in all of it. That's coming up a little later in the hour as well. It's all what's on tap here for you, brought to you by the Wichita Brewing Company, locations east-west, historic Delano, featuring a rooftop deck. Wichita Brewing Company, pizza and beer made here. Tommy, our friends over at Crestview Country Club, great. You got kicked out of the pool yesterday.
I did. Yeah.
So Crestview, shout out to Crestview. Again, great sponsors of the show. The swim teams, both juniors and seniors, won the city championship. And I believe it's the first time they've done that in like 15 years at least. They're pretty hype. Hype train was out of control at the pool last night. My kids are on the swim team, for everyone listening. Yeah, it was congratulations to all.
That's exciting. That's great. Yeah, so I got kicked out of the pool because they closed the pool early for the swim team banquet.
That's right.
So we were there with the kids and enjoyed a great, beautiful afternoon at the pool, and it was totally okay. We knew the banquet was coming, so we didn't get kicked out. We knew that it was going to be closing early, but congratulations to the swim team. That's quite an accomplishment. Pretty exciting.
I mean, we bring that up. These are young kids, right? This isn't high school. I just bring it up because, as we like to tell you, that how much we appreciate Crestview, like. That's one of the fun things are these pool parties and just the kids' activities. So
they've got a former Olympian coaching the swim team. Like that's kind of a cool thing to hang your hat on.
Yeah, Caroline Bruce, formerly Bruce, it would coach it, and no, it was fun. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we tell you about. Just the access to do things like that. It's a great fun thing. We've been doing it for years. Our kids. It makes them better athletes, but they have golf out there. They have kids tennis. They have this, like there are lots of access to for the kids in the summertime. So I give them a call. Just ask them about all the sponsorships as we make our way through here. Tommy, we'll give away a little HTO. Let's just take care of all our housekeeping right here off the top. Why don't we? If you want to win some free iced tea, you can text the keyword T to 20357. That's the short code 20357. The keyword is T. You can enter once per day message and data rates apply. You can cash that in East or West Wichita or in Derby. And I've got an announcement for you, Tommy. Have you heard of Maine's Cousins Lobster?
No, I've not.
So these are world famous food trucks. I guess I don't know if they were Shark Tank or something on like the Food Network. people go nuts for these things. We've got the Maine's Cousins Lobster food truck coming to the West Wichita HTO this Saturday. From 11 to 8 p.m. There's a Facebook event you can find. The truck comes out of Oklahoma City. I believe they've maybe been here one other time to the Wichita area, but they'll be coming to the West Wichita location. So if you've heard or know about these, like it's lobster rolls, like it's all this great lobster stuff, and people go ballistic for it. I've heard it's incredible. I have not had it. I'll of course try it this weekend. But they are coming. They'll park somewhere on the grounds of the West Wichita HTO, and they'll be there as well. So it'll be a big party. We're getting ready to celebrate 4 years at the West location, the original location here in the area. And so we're bringing in that food truck. That'll be fun. That's this Saturday from 11 to 8 if you're a Maine's Cousins Lobster fan. That food truck coming in. All right, let's continue the conversation here, Tommy. We're talking Royals. The draft was last night. The Royals actually in the first 3 rounds make 5 selections. One of these, I didn't even know they had it. One of these selections they got because Bobby Witt Jr. was second place in MVP voting last year. Do you know they were getting that pick? This is the first time it's ever been cashed in.
Yeah, I had no clue that they were able to get that. But hey, that's a cool bonus. I feel like generally speaking, the Major League Baseball draft is the least exciting out of all of them. And it's not that I don't follow it, because I'm keeping up on who my teams are drafting. But it sneaks up on me. I don't really, it wasn't like it was highly anticipated for me. It wasn't like must-see TV or anything.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, good that the Royals were able to get a couple of really good picks.
It's not as fun probably if your team didn't suck and you don't have a really high pick. I think it's more interesting.
Go up to it. Like, did you realize that? Like, no players ever go to the Major League Baseball.
Well, they do every year. This is the first time in like 15 years that nobody's been there. So they did virtual interviews,
right?
Which I'm not really watching the coverage unless either the Rangers historically or the Royals have like a top 5 or 10 pick. Then I'll usually watch that coverage until they make their pick. And I do like that they did the lottery now. But I think it's we don't know anything about any of these players. Like it's hard to follow because of that. But I mean, if I'm being honest with myself, I'll probably pay more attention to it than I do the NBA draft anymore. Right. Like I don't watch the coverage of the NBA draft. I look at who was drafted and where, but I'm not like locked in unless we have a local tie to it. But so the Royals make the pick. So this pick they get for Bobby Witt Jr. is basically, there was a rule put in that if you promote a player and they get, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it has to be first or second, but if they're really high in the MVP or Cy Young voting, then you can get a compensation pick. It's, from what I understand, it's never been cashed before, which makes sense because when you see it on the draft board, you're like, what is that? It's because Bobby Witt Jr. got promoted and then within 2 or 3 years finished first or second. I mean, obviously he was second in the MVP last year, so they get an extra pick. So that's kind of cool and a good incentive to call players up early. Think about Jack Caglione. I don't think he's going to be an MVP candidate anytime soon, but it does make it a little more advantageous to call up your superstar prospects and not manipulate that playing time as much. So they take 2 high schoolers. They take Sean Gamble with their original first-round pick, who's I've seen him listed as an infielder and an outfielder, so I don't know what he is. Josh Hammond, kind of the same thing, like just 2 we'll just call them position players. And then they go and they take Michael Lombardi from Tulane, who Shocker fans probably remember and know a little something about. And they take 2 more pitchers. They end up, Tommy, with 3 high schoolers and 2 college pitchers. So when you get 5 picks in the top 100, that's hopefully something they can replenish the farm a little bit with.
Well, and you hit the nail on the head there. It's all about replenishing the farm system because they've needed that. They've needed bodies. They've needed high caliber bodies in that farm system because while they've had a handful of really high profile names, in general, like individually, guys like Bobby Witt Jr., Jack Caglione, Blake Mitchell. They've had a couple of pitchers that are there as well. By and large, from top to bottom, they don't have a deep farm system. They haven't.
I think they're ranked about 21st in baseball.
Yeah, so just getting 5 picks in the top 100 to be able to build that depth in the farm system, not only then do you have a better pipeline to the bigs, but then you've got more trade bait if this window continues to stay open for the Royals. And I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about in the years to come. If the window for contention stays open for the Royals, you've got to have players in the farm system to be able to use as trade pieces so you can continue to compete and contend and make the playoffs. And so having 5 guys in the top 100, who knows if all 5 of them are big caliber guys, just hit on a couple of them and be able to either utilize them on the big league roster or be able to have them be attractive trade pieces in the future.
Yep, that's all that matters. The Royals, it's interesting. They have some, we talk about Bubic and Cameron. I mean, they don't have a lot of pitchers that have come up through the system. Those 2 kind of really stand out this year, obviously. But then when you look at their position players, they do churn them out pretty well. Obviously, Salvi is homegrown, but Freddie Fermin's a quality player. Michael Garcia, Vinny Pasquantino, Bobby Witt Jr., Jack Caglione are the 3 most high profile lately. But they've done a pretty good job of getting them graduated. But man, it feels like razor thin. Like you either get them up and they're everyday player or they're non-factors. So yeah, but the reality is in the last few years, you've called up most of your top guys. So they need some depth down there. And hopefully a couple of these guys, maybe 3 of them, if you're lucky, can pan out and sort of rebuild. And they got a long draft to go, right? They got a lot of drafting still to do. But it was interesting, as much as I don't know that it snuck up on me because I kept seeing all the Ethan Holiday stuff. And it's really cool, by the way, that Matt Holliday's kid ended up with Colorado. But I had no idea they had 5 picks on day 1. I had no idea they had the 2nd pick in the first round. Like, that's what snuck up on me. But here we go.
Did you follow, by the way, all the drama last week that the Nationals fired their GM and their manager and they held the number 1 pick? So like within less than a week before the MLB draft, they didn't have the guy that was going to be doing the picking.
Listen, if you're not happy with the way things are going, I wouldn't want somebody you plan on being outgoing making the number 1 overall pick. You know what I mean? Like, you're trusting your scouts at that point. Yeah. I think people were generally fine with the pick that they made. Man, you want to talk about 2nd-generation baseball players. Willits, they're everywhere. These 2nd-generation baseball players, crazy. All right, we'll come back. We'll continue the conversation. How about these all-stars for the Royals? That's next.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood. written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now. 8310 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Take it easy. We're going on the air.
This is Sports Daily on KFH.
Welcome back in. We got Jaylon Thompson coming up in about 15, 20 minutes from now. So we're looking forward to that conversation about the Royals. We continue on here. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor. Thanks, everybody, for hopping on 12 News Connected. Facebook, YouTube, X, all the comments. Got a good morning there from the Sports Heroic podcast on YouTube. Good morning to you as well. You can leave us your video comments right there. We can take them out over the air. You can call us at 869-1240. All kinds of different ways to get in touch with the show. If you're listening to us on the Odyssey app, you can hit the little microphone button as we make our way through the All-Star break. Tommy, an All-Star break that's going to feature be a little heavy with the Kansas City Royals. And that's awesome, right? Like we get, Michael Garcia gets added and Estevez is on there now, so that it joins Bobby Witt Jr. and Chris Bubich. Look, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see everybody get in there.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I had mentioned just the other day, I think it was on Friday, what does Michael Garcia have to do to make the All-Star team? And there have been multiple replacements that have been named, and he hadn't been one of them. And then finally, I think it was like maybe the 5th or 6th replacement player he got in. But regardless, doesn't matter how he got in, and he's well deserving of that spot being an all-star this season. And Estevez is the same way. I remember when the Royals brought Estevez on the roster, and at the time, if you think back to it, Lucas Ursig had been the closer. They brought him in at the trade deadline last year, and then he was the closer down the stretch for the Royals last season. And you're like, okay, well, will Estevez be the closer, or, do they really like Ursig in that role? What would that look like? And Estevez has come in and been pretty rock solid the majority of the year. He had a kind of a shaky weekend for sure, but he's been by and large pretty good for the Royals this year. And Ursig, has kind of settled into that 8th inning role when healthy. So I get it. Those two guys, well deserved all-star nods for them. And of course they, join Chris Bubich and Bobby Witt Jr. on the all-star roster.
Yeah, look, it's the fact that Ursig just is cool with it is one of the reasons I really love Ursig. Like he is nails. If he was the closer, would be one of the best in baseball. I have no doubt about that. And to just be like, yeah, it's cool. Bring in this other guy. It's fine. I mean, who do you trust more right now, Ursig or Estevez? I trust Ursig way more. It just doesn't really matter. But it makes the team better. It makes the team better, I think, to be able to have Estevez close a game out, which is something he's very comfortable doing, but have Ursig wherever you have to put him, which is something he showed them he was comfortable doing last year. That makes the team better. Estevez couldn't do what Ursig does, I don't think, but Ursig can do what Estevez does. And none of this is a knock on Estevez. He's done a really, really, really good job this year. But Ursig is and I had heard, there's a former A, is it there's a former A that's a broadcaster somewhere. I remember when they made that trade last year. Dallas Braden, maybe it was.
Yeah, he does the A's broadcasts.
So he was talking about Ursig, and he was just like could not say enough about like how much he's going to miss being around him, how much Royals fans are going to enjoy him, his personality, like his energy. And man, I remember hearing him say that. And I'm like, for a bullpen guy? And I totally get it. Like he is an electric personality, and he's fit this so well. But yeah, he did. He basically stepped aside and said, sure, Estevez, like come do it. And he's fully embraced it. And they both together, they've together been really good. So it was good to see that. And yes, Maikel Garcia deserved it. He has slowed down a bit. His batting average is back under 300 for the first time since like early May. But what a development he's been this season. And he really has. It's just kind of like he's finally taken off from what we've all seen him sort of tease at over time. Like a really good athlete that can do a lot of different things, has a little pop from time to time. It's just sort of all come together for him. And who knows if he can ever do it again? Who knows if he can ever replicate this season? So as much as anybody, it's for him. To me, it's like that. This feels like one thing for him. Maybe not, but boy, it could be. And that's really cool.
The really great thing about Maikel Garcia and the role that he plays in this lineup is that he doesn't have to be Bobby Witt Jr. He doesn't have to be Salvador Perez or Vinny Pasquantino or even Jack Caglione. He's probably got, I mean, as far as his offensive firepower and the expectations on his shoulders, he's got to be like 5th or 6th as far as priority. Like not priority, but as far as like expectation levels are concerned. So for him, he's able to just go out there and be free, like go and be himself, because, he doesn't have to have the weight of the world on his shoulders like the high profile guys do. He can settle into that role. And I really like the fact that the Royals moved him up in the lineup. He's taken off in that role for sure. And he can just go out there and produce. He doesn't have to worry about being the guy or even one of the top 3 guys. And he can just go out there and do his thing. So, I know he's kind of slumped over the last week or so, but overall he's been really good. And he's been the most stable and consistent player in that lineup from the start of the season to now. And so that's why I'm so happy for him that he got that nod to be an all-star, because when we've seen ups and downs and ebbs and flows in this lineup, and guys have slumped and they've been hot and back and forth. He's been kind of steady Eddie in that lineup. And so I'm so glad for him that he gets to play in the All-Star game.
Me too. Remember, he didn't have a spot. He wasn't a starter when this year started. Like, they thought he was not going to have a spot. It was going to be Massey, and it was going to be India, and it was going to be who knows. Real quick, because you've got some Chiefs news for us, Tommy. Real quick, home run derby tonight. Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, best nickname in a while, is the favorite. He has like 1 billion home runs before the All-Star break, which is just so awesome. And I'm sorry, Salvi. Like, I want him to hit 1 million this year. O'Neal Cruz is the next favorite, which surprises me a little bit. James Wood is 4-1, another one that surprises me a bit. I'll tell you right now, my bet on this is Byron Buxton, who can hit the ball a flipping mile. He's at 8.5-1. Your guy, Matt Olson's at 9-1. Junior Caminero comes in at 9.5. I also kind of like Brent Rooker at 10-1. And then Jazz Chisholm is in at 14-1. This is not a star-studded home run derby tonight. I don't know that people are going to come running to this home run derby tonight. It's kind of a swing and a miss for Major League Baseball. But somebody's going to win it, Tommy. Who's your money on?
It's hard to ignore Cal Raleigh, obviously, but the odds are not great.
In a derby.
Yeah, the odds aren't great. I'm biased here. I'm going to take Matt Olson.
I like Matt Olson.
Only because it's in Atlanta and you've got the hometown guy. And Matt Olson is underrated as far as a home run hitter is concerned. I was bummed, by the way, that Ronald Acuna dropped out. And I understand why he did, but he dropped out. I wanted to see him in front of the hometown crowd. He's lit baseball on fire since he's come back from his injury. But I'm glad that they replaced him with one of his teammates in Atlanta.
Brave,
so
I agree.
Brave representation in it tonight. So I do like Matt Olson. It's his home park. The one thing I will say about Olson, though, and any lefty in the home run derby, is that it's a little bit more difficult for left-handers to hit home runs at Truist Park because the wall is higher in right field than it is in left field. So keep that in mind. I like Matt Olson overall, and he's very used to hitting home runs to right field in Truist Park. But I do think if you're going to look at somebody that's not a Brave, look at a righty, because I think it's a little bit easier for them to hit home runs in Truist Park.
That's good. Look, these odds just feel like Cal Raleigh is fine to pick, but at 3-1?
Yeah, I don't love that.
That's I don't know about that. My guy, Byron Buxton, who my bet is already in on, is a righty, so that's good to know. Buxton's my pick. We'll see if he can get. Talk about having a great year. Holy moly! There we go. There's some betting odds. All right, what's our Chiefs nugget here, Tommy?
Yeah, so Adam Schefter reminded the world about 5 minutes ago on social media that the Chiefs have until 3:00 local time tomorrow to sign Trey Smith to a multi-year contract extension, or he'll play on the franchise tag this season. And by the way, here's kind of another nugget. So Adam Schefter reported that a little bit ago. Nate Taylor, who reports for the Chiefs for ESPN, he added in saying that Trey Smith is the only player left in the NFL who is on the franchise tag. There is nobody else.
Would you sign Trey Smith to an extension if you're the
Chiefs?
I
would. I've wanted them to sign him to a long-term extension ever since we knew that he was going to be tagged. I thought they would have had a long-term deal done by now. I don't know if it's going to happen.
How long?
They've got 24 hours to get it done, but they've got until tomorrow, and he's the only guy left in the NFL that is still on a franchise tag.
How long would you be comfortable with?
4 years, 5 years, something like that.
See, the problem for me is, I love Trey Smith. They have some money to work with right now, I believe. Yeah, they got a little under 11 million, I think, in space. The thing about that is, though, Trey Smith, remember, they tagged him and he gets like tackle money. So if they extend him, they're not going to extend him. He's tagged for like 23 million. They're going to extend him for $23 million a season. It's hard because you have to project out other players and other needs. You've already got Creed Humphrey. You've got a lot of money tied up there. I would do it too if it's less than a potential extension, like let's say Simmons is as great as he could be, I wouldn't want Trey Smith money to get in the way of an extension for a left tackle if he is. So how long will Simmons have? 3 years on a rookie deal? Or is it 4 with the first round pick?
4 years, I believe.
4 years with the first round pick. So if you wanted to do a 4-year extension, basically if you can be clear of the Trey Smith money by the time you would potentially have to extend Simmons, I think that's what I'm thinking about if I'm Brett Beach. And I know that's jumping the gun on Simmons, but the reality is you've been desperately trying and allocating resources to left tackle for so long. The worst thing that could happen is if this guy's awesome and you can't afford to sign him to a long-term contract, basically for the rest of Mahomes' career. So I would have to keep that in mind, but I do think it's important to think about, like, he's not going to get a 4-year, $100 million, I don't think, as a guard. He's getting that. And this is why I also don't think it's that big a deal, because I don't think he's like any sort of holdout danger. His franchise tag number is massive for a right guard. He's going to make $23 million this year on that tag. I mean, it's a huge number. His base salary, and that doesn't include, because he doesn't have a signing bonus, but his base salary, his guaranteed salary this year, Tommy, I think is the highest on the team, isn't it? Because Mahomes hasn't really kicked in yet. Mahomes' cap number is higher. So even if you go by cap number, he's only behind Mahomes and Chris Jones, basically. Jawan Taylor's still in there. But
yeah, but don't you think that, and I get the perspective of Trey Smith, don't you think that's added motivation for the Chiefs to get him signed long term?
Yeah, because you could save money this year. I don't know what they're gonna do with that money this year.
I wholeheartedly believed that the trade of Joe Thuney, to me, telegraphed that the Chiefs were trying to free up money to get Trey Smith signed long term. That you were essentially replacing money from an older guard, and you were going to allocate it to a younger guard in Trey Smith. And so it's been a little surprising to me that hasn't been done up to this point, because I thought that's exactly what they were going to try to do and why they traded Joe Thuney. So all along, I thought, oh yeah, it's more likely than not that they'll get Trey Smith signed to an extension. They've got a little over 24 hours to go. That may not happen.
It tells you there's a holdup probably, but again, if you want to go 4 years, $80 million, I'm probably comfortable there. The other thing is, if you can free up and backload it, maybe it allows you to then also go extend, let's say, Trent McDuffie this offseason. Like, getting a Trey Smith deal done now probably saves them front end money that they could maybe make that next big decision, which I think feels like either McDuffie or Karlaftis. And we've talked about it a million times. I'd prefer McDuffie there. But you can't the Chiefs are going to be fine with him playing for $23 million this year. I don't know how much leverage Trey Smith has right now, but the deal's not done yet. I didn't realize there was a deadline today. So yeah, 3:00 today.
Tomorrow,
multi-year extension. Tomorrow. Boy, there's been chatter too. Like, I think he alluded on Kay Adams' show that it felt like he thought something was going to get done. It's weird to take it down to the deadline. Feels a little unnecessary. I wonder what that holdup is, because I think both sides want it.
So they've got a little bit more time. The deadline is tomorrow at 3:00.
Oh, tomorrow at 3:00.
A little over 24 hours to get something done. So tomorrow at 3:00, which that timing for us is good, because we can ask Felix Johnson about that tomorrow when he comes on the show, assuming something's not done by then. So they've got, a little less than 36 hours from now to get something done between now and it's already done. Maybe they're waiting to announce it. I don't know. But I did see that segment you were talking about with Kay Adams, where he said he leaves it in the hands of his agents. But he did act a little bit surprised that something wasn't done.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised something hasn't been done, but I don't, again, look at it from the Chiefs' perspective. What is the urgency for the Chiefs to get this done?
Saving money against the cap. I mean, you have an opportunity to.
But only if you turn around and use it for an extension this year. They're not going to go sign somebody. They still have $10 million. If they wanted to go, if they were any player that they would add,
How much less likely is it, though, and maybe it's not at all, but I have no idea, how less likely is it that if Trey Smith plays on the franchise tag this year, that he's not going to re-sign long-term after this season? I don't know. Maybe he still would have an appetite to do that because he loves Kansas City and all of that. But I think that the odds drop some that they're able to then, maybe not huge, but they may drop a little bit at least for the opportunity to sign him long-term if he plays on the franchise tag this year.
Again, I would rather see it done now to make the year count to the deal when Simmons comes up. But not to an overpay situation for the Chiefs on a long-term deal because they just don't have to. I don't like Trey Smith. Like, why would he hold out? He's about to get paid way more on a single season basis than he ever will. So maybe he's overplaying his hand. Maybe he's like, I want to be paid like a tackle. I want that $23 million over 4 years. And then if you're the Chiefs, like, you can't do that deal at that point. So it's definitely worth paying attention to. I didn't even that deadline. Boy, that snuck up on me. I thought they had through training camp. I didn't realize that. That's crazy. All right.
I didn't
that's
realize
out there
until I read it from Nate Taylor that he's the only guy in the NFL that's on the franchise.
Yeah, that's
tag.
interesting.
They don't have there are no other players throughout the league that are currently on the franchise.
Remember
tag.
when we talked about how like quiet this offseason's been? I mean, there you go. Like, we don't have all these franchise tags to talk about. I wonder why that is too this year. Maybe it's just coincidence. That's another. We'll ask Jaylon about that tomorrow. I wonder why that is. That never happens. We've always got franchise tag deals hot on the, in the news for everybody to work our way through. They need him this year. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can't get too risky with this because you got to have Trey Smith this year for sure. Do they have to have him after this year? I think that's a little more debatable. I love Trey Smith. Don't get me wrong. He's one of my favorite players. I love watching him play. But he's a guard, making tackle money. You got to be careful if you're the Chiefs. We'll come back. Jaylon Thompson. We'll go back to the Royals. Joins us next. Don't go away.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
They're not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
Jim Rome here, lighting up your afternoons on The Jim Rome Show. Catch me starting at 2 on Wichita's #1 sports radio, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of fantasy. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
8310 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor here on this Monday. It is Home Run Derby night. We have Jaylon Thompson in as we take a deep dive for the Royals. We have some time to absorb everything. You can find Jaylon's work at the KC Star, beat reporter for the Royals. You can follow him on X at Jaylon Thompson. Jaylon, who's your pick tonight for the Derby?
I'm going with Matt Olson. He's
Okay.
replacing Ron Acuna Jr., and he knows that stadium better than anyone that's in that contest.
All right, 4 Royals make the All-Star game for the second year in a row. It's been a while since they've done something like that. Just kind of goes to show it. You know, there are 4 All-Stars on this team, and we're sitting here talking about a team. We don't know if they're buyers, we don't know if they're sellers, we don't know if they're both. We don't know what's going on. What does your gut say on the conversations you've had? Are the Royals ready to be aggressive? Are they ready to sell at all? Like, what are you feeling out?
I think they're going to be at a point where there will be a little bit of a seller, but not all the way into that realm, but maybe also buying it a little bit too. So I guess that's a way of saying they're going to be right in the middle. Obviously, you have Seth Lugo that you have to make a decision on, and they'll probably have to take that all the way down until the trade deadline, because realistically, he's probably going to opt out of his player option and it's for free agency. So you have to decide, do you want to take that risk or do you want to get something for him? I don't know where the Royals really stand on that. I think they really would like to keep him, but they understand too that, you know, the financial responsibility that's going to be attached to that might be a little bit out of their price range if they let him get to free agency. So when I look at that realm, they can still be a competitive team if they do trade Seth Lugo by the deadline. They have Noah Cameron, they have Cole Reagans will be coming back, things of that nature. Also, I think that they will add maybe a bat or two. I don't know if it will be a big bat because there really isn't a big bat on the market that they might be willing to get unless they want to go all in on a guy like Jarren Duran or Eugenio Suarez. But I think that for right now, the Royals will be determined after the All-Star break when they have that 6-game road trip against the Miami Marlins and Chicago Cubs. Do they come out with momentum, or do they come out and let's say they are 5 to 7 games under 500? What will they do?
Maybe I'm giving the Royals front office a little bit too much credit by thinking this, but I've thought for a long time, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but I've thought for a long time that if the Royals don't move Seth Lugo either before the deadline or at the deadline, if he stays with the franchise after the trade deadline is concerned, to me, that tells me that the front office has a pretty good idea on what he's going to do, and they're good with it. And whether that's him declining the option and walking away or an opportunity potentially to re-sign him, they should feel, I guess, pretty comfortable about what they're going to do. Now, maybe they have no idea whatsoever and they're just rolling the dice. But to me, I feel like if they don't have any clue on what direction he's going to take, then at that point, they probably ought to move him just to try to get a return.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Tommy. And regardless, they're going to have to pay $15 million because if he gets hurt when he comes out of the break, he's going to opt in and take the $15 million. So $15 million is going to be the starting line for him anyway. So it's a matter of, does he want more than that, or does he want a long-term commitment? I think with Seth Lugo, you have to look at the age factor as well. You got to look at where the Royals are, and you just paid Michael Wacha a nice sum of money to be in that starting rotation. And then Cole Reagans is going to potentially be coming up in a couple of years too. I know they pretty much bought his arbitration, but they're probably going to want to send him long term. So that's a lot of money that you're going to be tied up to your starting rotation. And do you really want to have multiple guys that are over 30, approaching 35 years old, tied up long term? So you have to really ask yourself those questions. And Seth Lugo has been great. He's been someone that has really come through and help stabilize the Royals starting rotation. The issue is going to be, do you pay him? If Wacha got 18, does Seth Lugo get you 20? Does it get you 21, 22? Do you really want to pay that 3-4 years down the line, wherever he might command? That might be a tough sell for the Royals and with other needs that they have. So I always say this: did you rather use that money on Seth Lugo, or would you rather use that money to get an offensive bat? And I think that's what they have to come down to.
That's a good question. I'd probably take a bat. Here's the other thing that Michael Lorenzen's another interesting name. If they decided to sell and wanted to keep Lugo, I don't think they'd be totally inclined, because he can also help them in the bullpen if Reagans came back. When is Reagans back, by the way?
He's working his way back. It'd probably be sometime maybe mid-August.
See, that's what I'm thinking.
Personal opinion.
Yeah, I don't know how much you can bank on that. That's a little risky. So, but Lorenzen's on a 1-year deal. Lorenzen's money comes off the books. The Royals don't have, unless they want to extend one of their younger guys early, as far as like money they need to spend this offseason, if it's only Lugo and you get $12 million off the books with Lorenzen, I mean, there's money there for Lugo to do like a 2 or 3 year deal, probably. I would imagine John Sherman still has an appetite, as they're trying to build a new stadium, just to not like slash payroll, at least keep payroll where it's been. So I do think there's some money there for Lugo. I don't know that there's a more interesting player at the deadline this year, but I mean, don't they have room to bring Lugo back if they really chose to do it?
They do. They can make it happen. Like, the Royals can figure out a way to make it happen. And I think Tommy brought up a good point. If he's still on this team by the trade deadline, then that probably leads you to think that they have some idea they can keep him at the deadline. I mean, when in free agency, I'm sorry, because you just don't take that risk with a guy that has a player option. I mean, there's a reason why they signed him to that deal. And that was to have him come in for these 2 years, and then if he pitches well, he'll have the chance to decide what he wants to do with his future, right? So, but I think the Royals would love to have him still be in the rotation. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, just because he has a player option that more than likely he's going to decline, that doesn't prohibit the Royals from re-signing him. Now, there'll be competition, obviously, and you've got big market teams that, might be looking at him and might want to, overpay him. And at that point, the Royals can choose to, not overpay for him. But I certainly think that there's an opportunity there, even if he does decline that player option if they don't move him at the deadline. I do have something for you, Jaylon, from over the weekend. The Royals salvaged the 3-game set against the Mets with that walk-off yesterday. And as it relates to the trade deadline, the bullpen was a little bit shaky this weekend. They gave up a bunch of runs late in the game on Friday. Steven Cruz didn't have it, at least the second inning out for him. And then Carlos Estevez inherited a bad situation and gave up a bunch of runs. And then Sunday, kind of the same deal. Estevez gave up some runs. Really wasn't his fault necessarily, but gave up some runs. But the bullpen collectively has been a little bit shakier than normal. Regardless of what the Royals do in the lineup at the trade deadline, if they go and acquire a bat, we know the margins are pretty small for the Royals, and they win games based on the backs of their pitching, and especially the back end of their bullpen. Do you anticipate the Royals will be in the market to try to find bullpen help?
I think they will try to find some reliever that they can get to add to that bullpen, because in reality, you haven't had Hunter Harvey since the beginning of the year. He's been hurt all season. Lucas Erceg is dealing with, back tightness here and there. So you're going to need someone to probably step in and add to that mix of guys they have in the bullpen, because you can't keep relying on, going into the Angel Zerpa, Steven Cruz, John Schreiber every single day. You're going to just use them up, right? So if the Royals are going to play close games and rely on their bullpen, they need to get some more options to, fill in to really help strengthen that unit. Because until you get Hunter Harvey back, until Erceg feels like he can get past the bat tightness that he has, then you're just going to continue to be kind of mixing and matching, doing what you can in the late innings, and that's not a recipe for anyone to be successful. And I think, like you said, you saw it this past weekend at the K. Guys just were trying to get to your All-Star break. They use their bullpen a lot, so you got to be able to be more efficient with that bullpen. And if you get another arm or two in there, I think that could really help.
I'm going to go back to a name you brought up just because we're having fun with the trade deadline. Do you really think the Royals will be in the market for Suarez? Because Suarez is probably, like, if you had to design the perfect addition to this lineup, it's him. Dude that's hits 30 home runs every year. He could play third, which means Garcia could play second, which means India could play left. There's a lineup fit for him. He's on a rental. He's a rental player. Are they willing to swing that big?
I don't think that they are. I really don't. But if they come out of the break and they're hot and they look at the market and it might not cost them that much, I mean, I don't rule out anything for the Royals to do. But a lot of teams are going to be looking at Suarez. A lot of teams are going to be looking at him. Yeah. But like you said, he's the bat.
And it's not like you're being asked to eat a lot of money. It's not eating a lot of money. It's almost certainly going to be a prospect involved there. It's probably a moderately high end one.
Yeah, I think so. I think that Jarren Duran is probably the best option that could be available on the trade market, but he's going to cost an arm and a leg.
He'll cost.
I don't think the Royals. Yeah. Now another name they did mention, Brian Reynolds. That his name has been in rumors, but I saw him at the K this week, and I don't know if he's there yet.
He's got a lot of money. I mean, Jaylon, he's got $75 million left on that contract. If the Royals bring him in, who does that cost them? If they, that's my problem with Reynolds. Has been a great player, except this year. But man, $75 million, that's costing you somebody. I don't know who yet, but it's costing you some. Maybe it cost you Lugo.
And you would need the Pirates to eat a lot of that money, and then you try to make that deal. They're not willing to do that. Then
they're not eating more than this year's money. They're not eating money down the road. It's the Pirates.
Exactly.
So they can't.
These are all like great names to like. This is what makes the trade deadline so interesting because you just don't know who you would can really afford until you get down to that point. Like, I mean, the Royals could look up and they're like, well, a team like, well, we want Seth Lugo. We'll give you 2 of our top prospects for him. Do you really say no to that?
I know. Well, and if you're the Royals too, and like let's say they're within 3 games.
Yeah.
And the Diamondbacks call and they're like Suarez for Blake Mitchell. You doing that deal?
I'll do that.
I would too. I would too.
No hesitation.
And fans may get mad about that because he's either the top or the second ranked prospect on the team.
You got Carter Jensen.
Exactly. Yes, you have 2 of them, and guys like Suarez is like bona fide power hitter. Like this dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what he may be the most like incognito true power hitter in baseball. Dude hits just a ton of home runs.
And you can permanently move India to DH and move Garcia, like you said, to second base and go from there.
He's a fit. It's interesting. Thanks for the name, Jaylon Thompson. Find all his work at the KC Star at Jaylon Thompson on social. Tommy and I will be back. Don't go away.
Thanks, guys.